A very expensive sorta track car. A very expensive sorta track car that weighs 3,746 pounds. A very expensive sorta track car that weighs 3,746 pounds and has a folding roof. That is what you and I are going to drive today. We kick off with a bit of deja vu because you and I have seen that engine before, not just in other AMGs. We've seen it in Aston Martins. It's a 4-liter twin-turbo V8 in this application, 577 horsepower and 516 pound-feet of torque. Now the obvious question is, how do they derive more power out of this engine when we've seen them as low as 469 horsepower? Well, a couple of things. Number one, obviously, they fool with the boost pressure. And then they get into more pedantic details, like one example is the cylinder linings. They're almost like a mirror-like finish, which lowers the friction of the moving parts, which increases the efficiency of the engine, which increases the output. And then there's a couple of other unique things about the engine, but not so much inside, it's the placement. Like for example, there is a dry sump lubrication system here, which lowers the height of the engine, which means the engine could be mounted lower in the car, thus lowering the center of gravity of the vehicle. Now another point about placement, notice the engine, it's not there. It's there. It sits behind the front axle and works in conjunction with a 7-speed DCT that doesn't sit behind the engine. It's a transaxle and sits in the rear of the vehicle. Now that's all fine and good, but what does this translate to in terms of performance figures? Well, VMAX, 197 miles an hour. Not terrible for a car with a folding roof, and 0 to 60, 3.5 seconds. Neglected to mention that those output figures are identical to this vehicle with a hard roof. Can't honestly say there is a huge difference, but God, it sounds so much more glorious without a roof. Let's downshift, try to get that exhaust going. Oh, little bit of controlled misfire there. The power delivery is beyond linear in this thing. I've always been a fan of these things, even though they are a direct competitor to the cars that have stolen my heart away from Lotus. Let's put this another way. More power on the same overall platform in an AMG GT makes this a better experience. This is one of these vehicles where more power is more. This is not a less is more experience, and I would argue the convertible only adds to that more is more. There is an unusual amount of active aero going on here, and not exactly what you'd expect. Let's start at the front. The air dam can be lowered, extended 1.6 inches, depending on which drive mode the car is in. By extending the air dam, that in turn is reducing the front axle lift, if you speak to the Mercedes AMG engineers, by 88 pounds, if the vehicle is going 155 miles an hour. I can safely say that you and I are not doing that today. Also in the front, there are active aero shutters that open and close based on cooling needs of the engine. Like for example, just driving around town, the active aero shutters are closed to increase the aerodynamic efficiency of the vehicle. However, driving it on a track, those active aero shutters would be open to maximize cooling to the engine. Then the second purpose is to direct the air underneath the vehicle to the reshaped diffuser. And that's something that's very similar to a 718 GT4 in that the diffuser has literally been reshaped to the sport exhaust. And in this case, it's not just an exhaust tip here. There are 3 exhaust tips. There's this, and then one on either side that's wrapped in carbon fiber, so if you happen to slip and hit the exhaust, you won't burn yourself. And the most rearward part of that exhaust system is something called the silencer, which in itself is made of titanium, which is why the diffuser has to be this fancy carbon fiber part of the active aero system. And then while we're on that silencer, that too is somewhat part of the active aero. This vent here pulls the heat away from the silencer. And then last but not least, the only thing that is not active aero is the most obvious aero bit of the car, and that is the spoiler. To make adjustments here, you do need to get your toolkit out, and then you could adjust the angle of the rear spoiler. Okay, so let's you and I try that, and to do that we need to hit this button here and it extends the spoilers. I'm pressing and holding the switch. Sadly you have to do this in park. Now we're in drive, still in race mode. Let's not go too crazy, but I want to understand the impact on the steering here. If I'm completely honest, the steering was already rather stable in a basic AMG GT. Here, I don't know if it's race mode or if it's that extended spoiler. There does seem to be a bit more stability, meaning you more point and go rather than have to make fine-tune adjustments at high speeds in your steering. From a materials perspective, this may have passed through the Wonka chocolate factory because there is a laundry list of exotica here. The most basic stuff is aluminum, and that's the doors and the chassis. The space frame, yes, there is a space frame. That is die-cast and extruded aluminum. Then the trunk lid, that is a derivation of carbon fiber reinforced polymer. Actually, it is carbon fiber reinforced polymer. Mercedes just calls it something like SMC. And then there's the rear part of the exhaust system. They call it the silencer. That is made of titanium and saves 13 pounds. Then moving forward, there's something called a front deck. I believe that's somewhere over here. That's made of magnesium. Then the pièce de résistance, the fenders as well as the torque tube, those are made of carbon fiber. But wait, there's more. The functional air that goes through the fenders in the front that are carbon fiber have these carbon fiber signets, and then there's a duct here and here to bring air into the brakes and to pull air out of the engine. And then on top of all of that, the carbon fiber fenders are 1.8 inches wider than the standard fenders on a basic AMG GT. Need to reinforce something to you guys because there is a misnomer about this vehicle, mainly because of the visuals. People look at this thing and say, oh my God, that's a really long car, that's huge. And that is not correct. Wheelbase to wheelbase, this against a 911, yes, it has a longer wheelbase. It's about 7 inches longer. However, the overall length, this is only an inch longer than a 911. And that contributes to a complete mismatch in what you expect, what your eyes tell you about this vehicle, the way it drives, and actually how it drives. Let's down. God, that sounds beyond magnificent. How it drives is not at all how it looks, because the engine is literally right there, and the transaxle is right there. Everything is right in the middle of the car, so near perfect weight distribution, and this thing can be driven very aggressively, and it does return some pretty phenomenal rewards. If you and I were searching for a theme for this episode, it would most likely be a laundry list of changes, and that theme very much continues in through to the suspension. First and foremost, adjustable engine mounts, something we've seen in 911s for years. That is fitted as standard here and works in conjunction with the myriad of drive modes on offer. Then the brakes, 15.3-inch diameter rotors in the front, 14.2 in the rear. That's if they were steel rotors. If they were carbon ceramic, 15.8 and 14.2 in the rear. Now, while we're focused on the rear, two unique aspects about the GTR Roadsters. Number one, rear wheel steering is fitted as standard to all GTR Roadsters. And number two, the rear track, like the GTC, is wider than the base AMG GTs, this one by 2.2 inches. There is no pitch, squat, dive, or roll to speak of here. And what's even more unique here, that quality is retained without a roof. Now, a huge Hinweis on that point. That's good when driving it aggressively in race mode, which arguably, if one is going to own a vehicle like this, that is the purpose of the vehicle. This is not a tool for commuting or taking the Rugrats to school. However, if you are saddled with the chore of taking the Rugrats to school or a honey-do list, you will notice a degradation in the ride quality in this derivation of AMG GT. The ride quality is very stiff, even all the way down in comfort mode. Granted, you do get a little bit more compliance when you get into this mode, but around town, your wife, mother, grandmother, or girlfriend, she will not be pleased by this vehicle. Not because you bought a yellow car. Yes, it is indeed that time again to play your favorite game of mine, the options game, with today's rather bright contestant, the 2020 Mercedes AMG GT Roadster for $189,750. To that we add the most unique shade of yellow you and I have ever seen around in this game. AMG Yellow Metallic. You must see it in person to understand. I am not a yellow car fan, but this really is wunderbar. It better be, because it is $9,900. Now, if I'm gonna spend almost 10 grand for paint, I want a really screwed up name like Gruna Hula. Anyway, moving on. Silver pearl, black Napa leather interior with diamond stitch. That is no charge. Then we add the carbon fiber trim, but a matte finish. That is also no charge. An indoor car cover. I cannot find it anywhere in this car. $370. The AMG illuminated door sill panels. Very important in these things. No charge. And then I would argue the most important option in this vehicle, yellow seat belts. $500. Active Distance Assist Distronic. I gather this is the level 2 autonomy of Distronic Plus, $2,250. A black top. If you're going to spend 10 grand on paint and $500 in seat belts, why on earth would you get a black top when they offer this? It's like a gray matte magno, they call it. That would be a better choice, even though this is no charge. Then we add the AMG Carbon Fiber Package 1. That is the front spoiler, the rear diffuser, and the fins on the fenders, all carbon fiber, for $5,300. A virtual bargain compared to the paint. Then the convenience package, believe it or not, the proximity key, the auto dim mirror, and the projector lights off of the mirrors, the puddle lamps, those are optional on an almost $200,000 car, $1,300. And then the lane tracking package, which is lane keep assist and the blind spot warning, that is also optional on an almost $200,000 car, $875. Then, just when you thought we paid enough for carbon fiber, no, there's more. AMG Carbon Fiber Package 2, which is the side mirror housings and the carbon fiber wing. Now, for the avoidance of doubt, if this car did not have this package, that wing would be painted black. But with this package, it's an additional $4,000. To that, we add the destination and handling of $995. And then the US government, they want their pound of flesh for $1,000 in a gas guzzler tax, for a total retail price of $216,240. Let's you and I downshift and focus on the roof up, because there's a number of things going on up there. Yes, this is another area where it's similar to a 911 and the structure is made up of magnesium, but where it diverts away from a 911, the structure is also made up of steel and aluminum. Then it is a 3-layer top, very similar to the LC500 we recently drove, and 911s for that matter. But again, where this diverts away from all of those is it adds an acoustic mat between those layers. Now, I'm assuming the logic is to lower the road noise coming from outside the car, but to me that makes no sense. This is a GTR Roadster. This is the most obnoxious version they make. Why would you want a more quiet roof? And let's just determine if it works. And that's race mode. It does quiet it just a little bit. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Admittedly, the hardtop version of the GTR Roadster you and I drove, about 2 years ago, that was very much a track-focused car, so really does it make a whole hell of a lot of sense to have a folding roof version of a track-focused car? Not exactly, but what's the old saying about climbing the mountain? Because it was there. And the mountain in this case is additional bracing. In the front, there are 2 diagonal braces in the engine compartment. In the rear, there are 2 diagonal braces, but these are much longer, and they start from about here and go all the way to the center of the rear suspension. And I gotta say, the minute you get into this thing, you immediately notice that this is by far the stiffest riding AMG GT, convertible or hardtop. You and I, we've covered a lot today, and in doing so, we've learned it's something rather special. And no, not because it's obnoxious both in its color and its sound, neither of which I'm complaining about. Rather, it's special because the car you are looking at is one of 750 that will be built.